Welcome back. My name is Brian, and in today's video we got something special. We have a project that was the camera guy's idea, so I'm gonna let him take over.
My name's Drake. I'm normally behind the camera. So I had a bunch of old, broken, cracked, chipped skateboards laying around. So I thought we might do something with them. So today we're going to be upcycling skateboards into coasters.
My first step here is to remove the grip tape. I'm doing this with a heat gun, but it can also be done with a hair dryer. I'm using a razor blade to kind of peel it up at the edges, and then really get it rolling with the heat gun. This pepper came off really nice. This, I don't know if it's Jessup or Black Magic, it did not come off very nice. I can say that this one board here was the most tedious part of this whole process. It's coming off literally piece by piece. This was very slow. If you look carefully at the tip of my heat gun, you can see it's pretty melted and warped, and there's a pretty funny story behind that. 6 or 7 years ago, I was walking through the woods, and, it was raining, and it was dark, and I fell in the creek. In my great wisdom when I got home, I thought it was a good idea to try to dry out my boots with my heat gun by sticking it straight in there, running at full blast. So yeah, I melted my boots and the tip of my heat gun. This graphic grip tape came off pretty easy. I'm not sure what kind this is. It's got that weird white underside like a sticker, but it came off not too bad. Nothing like the last one. Since we don't have a press, our approach on this is going to be to cut the boards right where you measure the wheelbase on the inside mounting holes, so we have the flattest area of the board lengthwise. This can be done with a panel saw or with a chop saw. We just got to make sure we're cutting off both the nose and the tail directly in the center of the inside mounting holes. We now have to remove the graphic, and to my surprise, a card scraper actually worked pretty well for this. While the card scraper worked, I decided it was a little bit too slow, so I broke out the sander. I tried using the sander to get some of the adhesive off of where the grip tape was. This didn't really work too well, so we're going to come back with a different approach. I might take it back. This was probably the most tedious part of this project. To remove the adhesive that was on the top ply, we used both a grinder and a wire wheel on an impact driver. Switching back and forth between these two really helped clear off all the adhesive that would gum up and remove the clear coat so the glue would have something to bond to. Again, we don't have a press, so our approach is going to be different from how this is traditionally done. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get 3/8 inch slivers, and since the boards still have concave on the width measurement, what we have to do is clamp them down on this sliding piece of the Festool table saw to keep the board from flying back at us. One thing that you should notice here is that since the board has concave, these cuts are not going to be perfectly square with each other when we lay them out. And that's okay, that will be addressed later. Our solution for not having a press is to use 2 bar clamps to press these all together while we're gluing them up, and to let that dry overnight. That is quite a lot of squeeze out on the bottom. To both remove the dry glue squeeze out and to account for the fact that the slivers are not quite square with each other, we're going to CNC it flat. With one side flat, now we can cut everything square on the ends and remove any excess. I didn't quite have everything lined up perfectly on the CNC machine, so that's what I'm using this low angle jack plane to take care of. There's this little lip, it's not much more than like a 1/16 of an inch. With the other side as smooth as possible, it's now time to smooth out the other side so it's got a nice even surface for your drink to sit on. Now that both sides are completely smooth, it's time to cut them out. Quite obviously something ain't quite right here, and I'm guessing it's my math.
Alright, so I messed up. These are not usable coasters, but I'll still use them for something, like knife handles or something like that.
Well, with our 2 usable coasters, there's still a little bit of tear out just from the CNC machine. Nothing too major, easy to clean up with the sander. Dang, I think these look pretty sharp. The last little repair that I had to do was to insert some glue into an area that didn't quite get glued up perfectly. And we had a comment on one of our most recent videos to try to suck glue down into a crack or a seam with a vacuum, and it actually works pretty good. Once that touch-up glue cured, it's time to put on some clear coat, and this is food safe, although I'm not quite sure why someone would be eating off of a coaster, but you never know these days. Off camera we did the other side.
Thank you for watching today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any more ideas of some stuff we could do with old skateboards, it's not like I'm gonna run out of broken ones. I'm gonna keep skating them and breaking them. Let us know. We've got merch down below for y'all to check out. It would really help the channel. I hope you enjoyed.